Hi, Sarah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing a little bit better than I was last time I saw you. So that's been nice.
So what's been going on?
I feel like a little bit more organized in my thoughts. Like I feel like I'm not as all over the place, and I feel like last time I saw you, I made some big decisions with Sean, and it was just overwhelming for me. And so I think I was just feeling like really sad and depressed about it. So that's why I didn't really want to move forward with things. But I feel like a lot more. What's the word?
At peace.
Yeah, at peace with the situation, or like I accept the situation for what it is, you know.
Right.
So that's been like kind of de-stressing, like weight off the shoulders to be like, this is the situation, and I accept it as it is.
So how was your interaction with Brian over the past week?
It's been hard. I think I've been seeing more of his true colors. You know, kind of like what I said last session. He, like, when I told him about like taking Sean out of the house, he was just really angry, and he kind of just stopped trying. Do you remember when
I remember.
Yeah, when I just kind of went through saying, oh, Sean stopped, or not Sean, Brian stopped fighting for me, like normally he fights for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of hard to accept, but I think almost it's been for the better that he stopped, like he's kind of given up.
Has it made it easier for you?
I think, yeah, it makes me more realistic about the situation and more comfortable being like, okay, maybe this is over. So yeah.
And how is Sean doing?
Sean's doing well. He's still at his grandma's. Like by now he's kind of grasped the whole picture of something's going on with mom and dad.
Right.
So I don't think that's been too easy for him. But I mean, it's better than where he was before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be hard no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So where are you with this whole situation now in terms of your living situation?
My living situation, I'm still kind of trying to figure it out.
How so?
I think just to up and leave Brian, I don't know what he's necessarily going to do with that. Like, I think he does have violent tendencies, and I don't want to bring that out in him.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But I think I just need some space to spend time with my son and like just peace, because just when we're at home, it's bad. So I've kind of been trying this thing where I spend like half the week, like 4 days with Sean and my mom, and then the other 3 days with Brian.
What are the differences between the two situations? Do you notice?
I feel like I'm living two different lives.
Okay.
Every week, which has been interesting, to say the least. Meeting my mom and Sean has been really nice. Like, I think Sean's behaving better, and my mom enjoys my company, which is nice, that we have a good relationship. So it's been kind of like a breath of fresh air almost, just to not worry about Brian coming home and if he's going to do something to me, or if he's going to say something, or if he's going to explode, or if he's going to ignore Sean, or ignore Sean. So that's been nice. And then going back to Brian, it just isn't fun. It's stressful.
It seems like when you're living with Brian, it's like everything is so unpredictable.
Yes.
But now that you're in, I guess, like a transition between the two homes, like going back with your mom and Sean, it just seems really nice and relaxing, and you're in a good place.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know necessarily how to cut it off finally with Brian. I mean, I think eventually it's going to happen, but kind of like I said last time, I feel like I can't, like, I'm not ready to just go home right now to Brian and be like, this is done. I think I still need to tie up some loose ends with that, and I don't know.
What loose ends exactly?
So, like, in the past, he has been violent before when I've left him, and I just don't want that to happen. I don't think anyone wants violence to happen in the home, but and before he's like shown up at the apartment that me and Sean will be staying at, or like I'll be staying at my mom's house, and he'll kind of come like over there just like a mad drunk and just make a fool of himself, and just his son sees that. And I think if I slowly like separate from him, it'll just like one day it's kind of like, okay, like he kind of will agree it won't work out either, you know. So
I feel like you taking the baby steps is going to help you in the long run with that, making that decision, because I know in past sessions you knew that the situation wasn't the best situation for you or Sean, but you didn't. You were completely against like moving out. But I feel like now, I feel like you letting Sean live with your mom and seeing how that impacted his behavior and his education process, I feel like that's making you more accepting.
It's easy to wrap my mind around, because if at the first session we were just kind of like, if you told me, oh, you need to move out, you need Sean, like, I think I probably wouldn't have come back. I don't think I could have. That's just too big of a piece of meat for me to swallow.
Yeah.
So I think like the baby steps, like the baby processes of it, it's been helpful. Just hopefully he doesn't flip a shit again.
So how are you prepared to handle that if he does?
I'm not. I don't know what to do.
Would you want like maybe your brother to accompany you, or do you feel like that would make the situation worse?
I think, I don't know. It just honestly depends on what mood you catch him in, Brian. And so I think like having my brother there like as a backup, maybe having him in the car or something, like in case something goes wrong or.
Their safety is definitely first.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's gonna like kill me or anything. It just he can get a little pushy and grabby, like he owns me or something. That pisses me off.
Have you ever reacted?
Every now and then, like I said, it just depends on what happens. So there's been some times when like I know if I flip a shit, like he's stronger than me. He's gonna just fight back. Whereas other times I feel like I'm more powerful in the session, like more powerful in like our relationship, and I feel like I can voice my opinion and he'll actually like shut up and listen to me. But lately it's just been like I just am quiet because I don't even want to play with fire. Yeah.
I feel like I said before, like definitely take those safety precautions, because this time it seems like it's more permanent than the previous times where you kind of just. At least you worded it that you moved out in hopes that he would get his stuff together. But I feel like lately, at least what you've been telling me, that you're coming to terms with the fact that Brian isn't going to change unless he wants to change.
Yeah.
And, you want the best situation for yourself and your son.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's going to start to see that if he hasn't already.
Yeah. See what?
See that you're serious.
Oh, yeah. I think this time he kind of has he understands that something's different about this time, which makes my like 3 days with him a week harder than they normally are. You know what I mean?
What happens? Like describe those 3 days.
To be honest, I work 2 jobs. You know that. So I'm not even home that much. I just kind of come home to sleep, and when I'm working a night shift, I'll come home and sleep for 3 hours and then go to my second job. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then after that job, I go to see Sean. So it's not even like I spend that much time with him, but whenever we do catch each other, it's never this loving, like, I missed you, I haven't seen you in 4 days, like, how are you? It's just been, like, he calls me names, and it just negative, and he just doesn't, it's not an uplifting environment.
In contrast to
and
your
he
mom's
place.
Place.
Exactly, and he just is, I feel like, more drunk now than he normally is, which probably is because I took Sean away, he's mad because I'm not even letting Sean see him, or Brian see Sean right now, because I just don't think he should see his dad, like, that drunk, and he's that drunk all the time now. We don't even sleep in the same bed, like, I don't let him sleep in the same room as me, like, I lock the door before I go to bed. Yeah.
That sounds intense.
Yeah. I don't think nothing's actually going to happen, but I think just for my own peace of mind,
it's just better off that way.
Yeah. Because not even like he's going to hurt me, but he's going to come in and he's going to like want some, or, you know what I mean? And I'm not sleeping with him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're an asshole. Like, why would I want to have sex with you? So I just think for my own sake, so I don't even have to deal with that and be like, get off me, leave my room, like, I'm not sleeping with you.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest, I'm more avoid him than anything. I just kind of show up 3 days out of the week so he knows I haven't just like completely left.
So do you think you're gonna like eventually show up 2 days, then 1 day, then...
I think eventually, like, maybe even this week or in the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna be just like sitting him down and having a conversation. Be like, listen, I'm moving in with my mom full time.
Are you comfortable having that conversation?
No, I don't think anyone would be comfortable having that conversation. I think that conversation, I mean, I've spent years with him. It'd be hard even with people who've had a healthy relationship, you know? So I know it's going to be hard and uncomfortable, but I think it's going to be for the best. Yeah, it's going to be hard. I think he's going to be mad. So like you said, I could just have my brother be there, which would be a good support system. Or even my mom. Like, I know my mom doesn't like Brian, so she would love to just... like, she would love that. She would love to see that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think having that conversation with him, and not maybe to ease things, just not being like, oh, like, I'm done, I'm never going to see you again, but just like, for right now, I need to live with my mom. If you would like to have a better relationship, this is what I expect of you. Like, you know, like, I'm not meeting up with you when you're drunk. Like, you need to go to like, have conditions.
Right.
You know, so not necessarily being like, nope, I'm done, giving up on you, because I think that will just set him off, but being like, it's not like I've, like, quit necessarily, but I'm saying no right now because you need to get your shit together. And this is what, to me, looks like getting your shit together.
Is that something that you would say to soothe him, or do you actually believe that?
I don't know. I think part of me believes it. You know, honestly, yeah, if he got his shit together and if he stopped drinking and if he actually went back to school or got a real job and, like, really fought for me and really became a parent to Sean, not just, like, his buddy who sometimes takes him to the movies or, like, takes him out of school to go bowl. You know what I mean? But actually he becomes his parent. Mm-hmm. Like, then maybe yes, but he's nowhere near that right now. I don't think I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's not a realistic thing. Right. But so yeah, I would give him those conditions and be like, hey, if you want to start seeing me again or like casually dating, you need to be in AA, like you need to like go back to school. This is what being a parent to Sean looks like. This is what I deserve as a woman. Like, you know what I mean? Right. In a relationship. So kind of giving him that. And I know if he's not going to change unless he wants to. Or like if he does change for me, it's not going to last. Like he's not going to be able to do all of that just for me. And honestly, I don't think he even wants it that bad because his actions right now don't show it. So I think it's
like
again
past experiences where he's acted like he changed, and
yes.
then you move back in, and then it's the same thing over again.
Yeah, and past experiences, he hasn't really changed. Like past experiences, it's like, oh, he's just nicer to me and nicer to Sean. It hasn't been like this. You need to go to AA. Show me your chips. Like show me that you're making changes. So I think, yeah, he's probably not gonna do it, but. Like, again, like, having those baby steps, I think, for me. You know, because just thinking, like, okay, this is done. Like, the past 8 years of my life is done. Like, that's heartbreaking. You know? Like, yeah. I'm only, like, 26 years old. You know? And, like, so having a good chunk of my life been wasted on him, like, that's heartbreaking. Like, I could have done so much with my life, I feel like, by now.
But I feel like you definitely learned from it also. Would you say that?
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, we learned from the hard stuff, but it's like if I didn't even meet him or if I wasn't in a relationship, I bet you my life would be a lot better.
And then you wouldn't have Sean.
That's true. No, I'm, like, very thankful and, like, blessed that I have my son. So, like you said, like, there is positive.
There's always a positive and a negative. I feel like you should definitely like reflect on the past 8 years.
Yeah.
And see what you've learned from the situation. Because even though right now it's just all the negatives, I feel like when you do make those steps, which you are making, to get out of the situation, you can look back on it and see the positive impact that it's had on your life. Would you refuse to take from any future partners, or if you and Sean get back together, like, you can stand your ground, you know what you want. Yeah. And I feel like it's made you a stronger woman.
Yeah. I mean, I think our past sessions have definitely made me more confident, I think, in myself and my abilities. Yeah, like my first session, I remember just being like, I don't even know what I want. You know, so I think that's been interesting to see. And like, it's been cool to be like, okay, I can make decisions and I can follow through with them.
And you seem less overwhelmed. Because when you first came in, that was the problem.
Like, I don't have any time to do anything.
Right.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I'm enjoying. Yeah, Sean's been great. He, like, you know how I said he was having behavioral problems in school. And so I feel like since being with my mom, he just has been, his behavior problems have, like, dropped, like, 50%. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he still has some issues, but he's getting better, and he's actually liking school more, and he's actually making friends, because before no one liked him, because he would just bite everyone. You know, no one wants to be friends with that. But so that's been really cool to see him flourish, I think. You know, and compared to the environment he was in, and I think that really just confirms being like, okay, like, being with Brian is bad for Sean. Like, I wasn't crazy thinking that. Like, this is, yes, I made a good decision for once. You know what I mean? So that's been really cool to see.
It's good to hear. How is it going with the CNA program?
So I found a program that's like kind of near where my mom lives, which is really cool, because before I mentioned that I couldn't necessarily find one near my home with Brian necessarily. So it's been cool to see like how, there's one 10 minutes away from my mom's house, and it's relatively cheap. I think I'd have to take out a loan, which makes me really nervous because I don't want to be in debt. Like, I've been there before. It's not fun, but it's kind of the whole investing in yourself and your future. I just don't know if I have time to do it, because my 2 jobs, like, I think I'd have to quit a job or cut back on hours, and I don't really know how I necessarily support Sean, but I think my mom, she mentioned that if I went back to school, I wouldn't have to pay for food or like rent, so that's like a huge.
Wait, like an official thing. That is
thing. At least for like the time being, you know, maybe like the next few months while like I'm adjusting and adapting. Like, that's just a huge blessing to have my mom. Like, I couldn't have done anything like any of this without her, you know. So even though like life is hard right now and it's like sad and heartbreaking, like, I'm so grateful for my mom. Yeah.
Sounds like an amazing woman.
No, the fact that I don't have to pay rent or food, and she like takes care of Sean when I work and picks him up after school. Like, she totally doesn't have to do that.
And it's nice, like for Sean to have a positive role model.
Yeah.
Other than yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely needs that stable environment.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, and it's more structure. So he comes home, grandma's always there. Like, grandma picks him up every day from the bus stop, takes him home, like, they have snack, they sit down and do homework, he watches like half hour of TV, then he can read or like play with his toys or hang out with a friend. You know, like, so having it every day, whereas before it was just like, Dad picked me up from school, we went to like the arcade, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Brian, who do you know what I mean? You can't just take him out of school, or he comes home and I'm not there and Brian's supposed to watch him, but Brian doesn't show up, so Sean's just by himself. Like, he's 10 years, I don't know how old he is. He's like 8 years old, you know, by himself in a house with like beer cans everywhere because Brian didn't pick up after the night before, so he just sits there and watches TV until I come home at like 9. You know,
and he has no time to do homework.
Well, he has time to do it, he just doesn't do it. You know what I mean? And like, he doesn't eat food, so he'll find food, so he'll find cereal, and there'll be like Lucky Charms all over the place. You know, he's like bad diet, so I mean, he's kind of a pudgy kid in general. But like, since being with my mom, I've noticed that he doesn't really like, he's more in shape. So like when we walk up the steps, he's not out of breath, and I've noticed he's been a little bit more slimmer, and he has higher energy levels, and you know what I mean. So I think he sleeps like a lot better throughout the night.
That's really good. And then him being active and making friends.
Exactly.
Helping also.
So definitely the structure has been cool to see, and I think it's really good for him right now. And it's good for me too. Like I don't come home and I'm like, what's gonna happen? Like, did Brian take care of Sean, or am I gonna come home and there's gonna be like crap smeared on the walls?
So it's like less overwhelming.
Yes, for me. Like I can come, and even when I am spending the night with Brian, I can come home and I don't have to worry about Sean because I know he's being taken care of. I just have to. It's not even like I worry about Brian because I know it's basically over, but just being like, okay, mentally prepare myself for him being an ass. I can do that. You know, the other things it just wasn't working out.
Yeah.
So.
Has Sean said anything about like not seeing his father or?
Yeah. He kind of will. Consistently, he'll kind of just be like, where's daddy? You know what I mean? And just kind of, well, daddy's like busy right now, like daddy has a lot on his plate and he doesn't have time, you know, like I'm not gonna be like, your dad's a raging alcoholic, I'm not gonna do that, you know, but kind of just like daddy's sick, yeah, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, and he's always like, oh, can I talk to daddy? And so like I've tried several times to call Brian, but when I have called him, he's drunk. Yeah. You know, so just kind of like, oh, went to voicemail. He'll call us back when he's less sick, you know?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So it just looked like, and then after that, he's kind of like, okay, and you can tell he's kind of sad about it. But typically he just is like, he moves on, and he's asking less frequently. Which is kind of sad. Like, Brian is his dad. He really is. You can't
deny.
Even if I meet someone new and he's great, like, Brian's still Sean's dad.
Yeah. And
so that's kind of heartbreaking to see, like, they're losing their relationship, but I'm not having, like, an alcoholic be involved in my son's life anymore. Like, I'd rather him deal with not having his biological father around than having to interact with that, all what Brian is. So.
It was affecting his behavior also, so.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know. Just Brian fucking crazy. Yeah. Always.
So, how's your mom doing? How is she handling it?
She's doing fine. I think, it's a lot on her plate, and she didn't necessarily know how much it was going to be. I think she knew it was going to be hard, but she didn't necessarily know it was going to be this hard. And I don't even think it's hard. I just think it's a lot of work that she has to do, and I don't think she was expecting to do that much work. But I think overall she's really enjoying me and Sean being over there, because before, just like herself, like she's 60 years old, and my dad left. No, he died. He died when I was younger, and she never really got into another relationship. So, so I think it's. And I feel like I had Sean moved out with Brian, like, no one's been in the house. So I think it's different for her to have people in the house.
She got used to being alone, probably.
Yeah, but I think she likes the fact that people are around, like, because I think she was a little lonely before. And, I mean, I spent a lot of time with my mom, I think, as much time as I can, but it's hard when I'm working 2 jobs and, like, have a relationship and have a son. So I think the fact that we're living there, it gives me time to connect with my mom, and she's like the first person I go to when I'm fresher with Brian, and she hates Brian, but like understandably so. But she's supportive of me nonetheless. Like, she never really bashes him in front of me, or in front of Sean, which I'm really glad. I'm really glad she doesn't do that. But it's nice that she just supports me and she like listens to me. And whenever I come back from being at Brian, she will just be like, how was Brian? And I'll probably break down and cry or something. And she doesn't judge me. She's not like, oh, that man's an asshole. Or like, I told you, like, you just need to leave him. But just be like, oh, how are you? Like, I'm sorry this makes you sad. You know, like, and that's all I need to hear. Like, I know he's a bad guy. Like, I know it's a bad relationship. I don't need people to keep telling me that. You know, I've lost a lot of friends because of that. Because they just wanted me to leave Brian. And I know I need to leave Brian, but it's like, it's not that easy. And you can't just...
It's not on their time.
Yeah. And every time I'm like, I need to leave Brian, and I'm about to do it, and I don't. I feel like I'm just so back and forth about the issue that they're just like, I feel like they judge me because I can't do it, but they're not in my situation. Like, they can't get mad. Like, it's complicated. Like, he's the father of my son. We've been together 8 years. Like, you can't just do that. You know? And so I feel like my only friend is my mom because I've lost all my other friends because of it. Which, again, is another heartbreaking thing. Like, I had so many close friends, and just because of my relationship with Brian, like, I've lost them, you know.
Do you think you would try to reach out to them now, or?
Yeah, I think I would, but the fact that they, during, like, my hardest times in life, they weren't there, it speaks a lot about them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's kind of, you know, like, that's not what a real friend is. So, and I don't really trust people at all, really. So, I don't know if I'll make new friends. But my mom's my friend. Which is nice. Good old mom. So, yeah. Trusting people is hard for me.
Why is that?
I think just the things that have happened in my life, like my dad being a drug addict and then just randomly dying. Like, I didn't know he was on drugs. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be one thing if, like, Brian was my dad, and, like, oh, I know my dad's an alcoholic, but it's like, I didn't even know my dad was doing drugs. And then one day you get your principal comes into school and it's like, you know what I mean? Oh, we need to talk to you. Mom's in the office. And then mom's, like, crying, and she just was like, your dad's dead. And it's like, wait, what? What? Like, what are you talking about? And then you find out how he died. It's like, not even, like, the fact that your dad's dead. It's the fact that, like, your dad's dead, and he's been lying to us this entire time. And he's doing drugs. Like, last person I would expect to be doing drugs is my dad.
How do you feel like that situation impacted your relationship with Brian or with men in general?
I don't really know how to act around. Like, I don't know what a healthy relationship looks like. Like, I mean, I thought my parents had a healthy relationship, but my mom wasn't even on the picture. Like, that's not a healthy relationship. So I think I don't really know how a healthy relationship works. Like, I have an idea of what it might look like in my mind, but I think it's not normal. And then it's interesting how similar Brian is to not like to my dad when he wasn't on, like, when I thought he was normal, but just, oh, he died of a drug overdose and he left me. Like, in essence, like, my dad chose drugs over me and he left me. You know, and so with Brian, like, Brian is, like, a somewhat functioning alcoholic, probably going to drink himself to death. It probably won't be the sudden thing. He'll probably get, like, liver disease or something, and that's how he'll die. But it's still, like, the similarities are very interesting to see to me. I was so angry at my dad, and then I choose, like, the first guy. Kind of like my dad.
Right.
So yeah, I just don't think I never trust Brian. Like, even if he is being honest, I'm always just like, no, I don't trust. Just any guy, actually. Like, in high school, right before I met Brian, I was talking to this guy, and he was the sweetest guy ever, like, I liked him, but I think I was more attracted to Brian because he had this, like, bad boy thing going on for him. But, like, the other guy, Kevin, like, he told the truth, and, like, he was honest, and I just didn't know what to do with that because I thought he was lying all the time. And I ended up shooting that in the foot because he found out about me and Brian.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
do you think that you to start trusting people maybe later on in life, or how do you think you can go along coping with that?
I don't know, to be honest. I think right now, like, I'm just focused on this situation.
Right.
I think eventually, I don't want to say, like, I can't ever heal from that. I don't really believe that, but I think I want to tell myself, like, there is hope that I can find someone, or even being like, if I don't find another, like, great guy, like, that's okay. I don't need a guy. Like, I don't need that affirmation. That's partially why I was with Brian, because I needed that. I was so insecure about myself. And so kind of, I think maybe this time spent away from Brian can be good for me to really figure out who I am and figure out what I, Sarah, actually like as a person and what I want, and being okay and confident and secure in who I am. So maybe if I do meet another guy, I can know who I am and not compromise myself for them. Because Brian, I compromised a lot of who I was. And again, that makes me mad, but it is what it is. Yeah, so I think maybe in like 15 years. I don't know. Like, you don't know the future,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure working with you.
Thanks.
You definitely came in the first day very overwhelmed,
Yeah.
frantic, didn't really know, how to handle situations. But I mean, I feel like over the past 6 sessions, I've really watched you grow as an individual. Even like creating the pros and cons list between, with your relationship with Brian and researching programs and all, I feel like it's definitely helped you grow, and I feel like you've definitely been able to really focus in on certain issues in your life that you were probably, like you said, that you were ignoring before, even though you kind of knew that it was an issue, but you were like, oh, okay, let me just pacify it.
Yeah.
So I feel like definitely moving forward, you're going to have a bright future. It is
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I'm really happy to hear that Sean is doing much better in school, and your relationship with your mother is much better. And it's definitely nice that you're realizing what's best for you and Sean, because that's the exact same thing that you said the first session, that you just want the best situation for you and your son, whatever it may be. So I believe that you feel like you're making the best decision, and I feel like it's shown that it is the best decision. So it was a pleasure, like I said before, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. So yeah.